Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Snort, snort, snort.
Kogan. Drip.
Snort, snort.
I got the drip. Go. Alrighty, everyone. So first up, for the first story to ever be covered on DS Politics, I have a story that it's from a local news agency. However, this is actually a bigger topic than just locally here in Washington State, where I happen to live. This is something that has been going on ever since the presidential election ended last week and Donald Trump defeated Kamala Harris. Let's take a quick look and let's actually watch this little bit of a excerpt from a news story that was actually run on the local TV stations here. Here it is. It's heart-wrenching. Washington woman receives racist text sent to many people across the country. The FBI is investigating after racist text messages were sent to Black Americans across the country. And here's the story. We are going to watch it, but I think before we even watch the story, we should actually see what this text message is, should we not? So.
Messages sent to Black Americans all across the country, including some people right here in Western Washington. King 5's Bridget Chavez joining us now in studio after speaking with a woman who received.
Okay, so everyone can hear, everyone can see, correct? It's working. So here's the text message that apparently people across this country, the United States of America, have been receiving since the election ended, okay? I'm going to read it. Greetings, you've been selected to pick cotton at the nearest plantation. Be ready at 10 p.m. sharp with all of your belongings. The executive slaves will pick you up in a brown van, so be prepared to be searched down upon arrival to the plantation. You are in Plantation Group A. Okay, then. So, this is the real text message going out to Americans right now. Now, let's watch the story. All right? And then allow me to respond and react to the story. But first, let's watch the entire story. Here we go.
Received 2 text messages, Bridget.
Yeah, officials have described these texts as disgusting and disturbing from young kids to adults. We've learned that Black Americans have received messages like this one telling them that they've been selected to pick cotton. The messages themselves didn't break any laws, but the FBI is trying to figure out who sent them.
I got this text twice. It reads, "Greetings, you have been selected to pick cotton at your..."
In a video that's now gone viral, Isella Rayner shares the text messages she received from numbers she doesn't recognize.
The first couple words were like slavery, plantation.
Wait, they weren't from her closest friends and relatives? It was from unknown numbers?
You're getting sent, and I was just like freaking out.
Rayner isn't the only one who got messages like this.
It's heart-wrenching. Truly heart-wrenching.
The FBI says Black Americans across the country have received these racist texts. Rayner says she got these messages Wednesday, the day after the election.
What do you think about the timing of it?
It's a little fishy. It's a little fishy.
This is kind of their end zone spike, kind of their.
This is their end zone spike, and he nodded. What the hell? Let's keep going.
Hanging on.
It's hard for me to not comment. I want to watch the story first. It's very hard for me to not comment on it as it's happening.
The rim, kind of the in your face.
Leslie Braxton is a pastor at New Beginnings Fellowship in Kent. He didn't get a text, but many people he knows did.
This is the cruel part of American culture.
By the way, one thing I'd just like to point out, okay, before we even continue, do you see this right here? It's really have a nice pointer here. You see what this is? You see what that says? It says report junk. You see that? The sender is not in your contact list, report junk. I'd just like to point that out before we continue. Okay, let's continue.
We are a part of and fight for the noble part.
It's still unclear who sent the messages, but Text Now, which offers free phone numbers online, says at least one of its accounts may have been involved and said they shut down the accounts and are working with authorities.
No, you mean that someone would have used a method to be a third party kind of a deal to hide their identity who's sending those texts? You mean someone wouldn't be proud to just send that text out from their real number and, you know, not be afraid of any kind of repercussions? No way. I never would have guessed that some kind of a, you know, spoofing service would have been used.
That's like the scariest part, that this is only targeting people of color.
Braxton says, unfortunately, he isn't surprised by any of this.
By the way, Darkside Pimp just gifted another sub to the channel. Thank you so much, Darkside Pimp. I appreciate that tonight.
Part of being black in America is dealing with microaggressions. Every now and then people will say out in public what we know they say under their breath.
And we've learned that there are possibly more texts circulating targeting other minority groups, and we're working to confirm those details. Reporting live in studio, Bridget Chavez, King.
Okay, so we've seen the story now, okay? And, I mean, there's so many things to unpack in this story, quite frankly. For a 2-minute video, 2.5 minutes, and the fact that this is actually starting to make not even just local, but this is starting to spread across the country, kind of national news over the last month, I feel like there's a few things to kind of discuss and take a look. So first of all, before we even address the more specificness of it, let's be honest. This is a messed up message for anyone to get, to be told that, like, oh, it sounds like you're about to lose your personal freedoms. Get out. You're about to be a slave. I mean, it's messed up, correct? We can all agree there. It's not a nice message. It's not, oh, that's not a warm-hearted jab or joke. That's a pretty mean-spirited message to get. And I think there's no one out there who's going to say, oh, no, that was a good one. It's more like, haha, what an asshole. You know, what a piece of shit to send someone that message, okay? Now, the story says a few things that I feel like we need to address before we can even continue. The first thing it says is that this text message is going out to people of color, okay? Did the news story actually present any evidence of that whatsoever besides the one woman who was interviewed and the one person who I believe was a pastor or, you know, some religious leader who said that certain people that he knows have gotten it? Okay, where is the evidence that this is only going out to people of color? If you read the message, okay, it says nothing whatsoever about race. Now, obviously, the reference of cotton picking, which is a racist reference because it was here in the United States of America where many African slaves were basically forced to pick cotton in plantations and fields, correct? This is factually true. So obviously that's what the reference is, but nowhere there does it say that this is towards a certain group of people. Now, if they had come onto this report and said, hey, we have all this data, we've been gathering data all week, and we found out that 5,000 people of color got this message and only 200 white people got it, then you'd be like, all right, you know what? That's pretty bad. That means that's a targeted harassment campaign, okay? That means that there's a big problem here. Who is doing this? And you know what my question would be? How are people finding out people's races and sending text messages to people of color specifically? Like, I'm sorry, sometimes a name could be a giveaway of your ethnicity, but not always. How are you going to know that who you're texting, right, is a person of color? Is it an actual targeted stalking campaign? If so, that's actually very disturbing. That someone has access to that kind of data and they could sit there sending targeted messages towards people of certain ethnicities. To me, sounds more like someone who has too much time on their hands, went to one of these third-party sites, sat there and just literally mass texted a ton of people this message. And it just so happens that some of the people that it went to were people of color, and it hit home because, hey, if you're a person of color and you're being told that you're going to be a slave, yeah, that's pretty offensive, okay? But this news story doesn't have that data anywhere in the story. It never mentioned numbers. It never mentioned, here's what our research found. Just, oh, it's going to people of color. Here's one person who got it, who's offended and made a TikTok post about it. So let's interview her. And then let's interview this guy who's, I guess, a pastor. And, oh, he says some people in his congregation got it. But who else got it? Right? That's the data I want to know. Now, the other fucking, I said, oops, excuse me. I said fucking because I got upset. The other thing about this story, got to be professional. This is a politics show. I can't be saying the F word. The other thing, all right, is this message itself is admitted in this news story. It's outright admitted there's nothing illegal about this message. Now, you could say this message is very offensive. It's insincere. Or not insincere. It's inconsiderate. It's actually targeting a group. It's trying to be insulting. Absolutely, all of that stuff that is true. But it's not illegal. So why is the FBI investigating this? The Federal Bureau of Investigation is investigating a mean text message. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you know who I am. Allow me to explain. My name is Darksydephil. I've been a content creator for 16 years. I have arguably received more harassment of this nature and far worse in the 16 years that I've been a content creator than probably almost every person on earth. There's probably maybe another 50 people who got it worse than me because they're like, you know, horrible, awful murderers and crime committers and shit. But I've had it pretty fucking bad. All right. If the FBI investigated every time that I got a mean tweet, a mean text, an email, a post, shit, there's people who have entire businesses based around talking shit and insulting me and my family members. The FBI would need an entire fucking wing, a building full of agents personally investigating all the mean shit that's been sent to me or said to me or my family members, because that's how much there's been. Is there a single FBI agent who's ever investigated an insult towards me? No. So why is the FBI investigating this particular text message? What is the trigger here? It's not against the law. We don't even have any evidence that this has been sent specifically to people of color. Or at least the evidence hasn't been presented to us. I would like to see it. Like I said, if that evidence does exist, I would actually be like scared. Like, how the hell did they get that information that they're targeting certain races? I don't even know that's possible. How would you know the color of someone you're texting, right? But none of that's been presented. What we got in this news report is 2.5 minutes of fear-mongering. That someone out there is racist because the election went one way, and now if you're a person of color, beware, because you might get mean text. This is front page news. This is really, really important. No, it's not. At all. All right? What did we see in that report when we were staring at that screen? Let me find it now, because now I have to find that point that we were looking at earlier. Of course, now I can't find it, right? Oh, okay, here it is. Go back. What do you see on each of these screens? Look, basically these are different variations. Here's some different ones. You've been selected. Look, this one doesn't even spell it correctly. Cuttin? What the fuck is cuttin? Right? And basically what it is, if you can see, they basically changed the words around a little bit with variations, okay? But what does this say right here? Right here. This sender is not in your contact list. Report junk. Do you know what this is? That's exactly what this is. This is junk. This is a junk text message. This is a troll. Literally, this is a troll. Now, I would say internet troll, except this is text messaging, so it's slightly different. I guess you could argue it's a messaging troll. This is someone who is trying to get attention. And ladies and gentlemen, King 5 News and every other news outlet that's covering this story has just fed the trolls the most ultimately huge, delicious, multi-course meal that they've ever eaten in their entire lives. They have a whole fucking real news story about their text. Their stupid text. They got exactly what they wanted. This is exactly what the troll did it for. Hey, maybe if I message some people this insulting thing about slavery, someone will think it's about their skin color, someone will complain to the news, and I'll have a whole news report about me. And now they do. Ladies and gentlemen, we live in the year 2024, and there are grown adults who don't know how to handle trolling yet. This woman, I'm sorry, listen, here's what I will apologize for. She doesn't deserve to be harassed at all, nor does she deserve to be harassed by the color of her skin. But you're telling me this woman who's a grown adult has never been trolled before and doesn't know how to handle it? She doesn't understand that being on this news story gives the troll what they want, and now they're going to escalate. That's exactly what trolls do. They escalate when you give them the attention they're so desperately craving. So it might have just been one person or 10 people or 100 people they would have sent it with. Now they're going to send it to 100,000 because they know they're getting the impact they want. They're getting the attention they so crave. What you do with a troll is very simple. All right? As soon as you get that message, as soon as you get that email, as soon as you get that nasty message in your chat, on stream, wherever it may be, you go right over to report the junk. When you click on that, it actually gives you options. It says, do you just want to report it as junk? Do you want to block the sender? You could have all these, and you just get it out of there. And then that person can never, ever contact you again from that number, from that address, from whatever it is. And you move on with your life. And the thing is, if you don't respond to it, if you ignore it, what happens is it goes away because this person realizes I'm wasting my time. I'm not getting anything out of this bad act. The action was not rewarded. Let me move on and do something else. They literally did exactly the wrong thing. And I wouldn't be shocked if this becomes a big thing now where everyone keeps getting these kind of messages. And did you hear what she actually said at the very tail end of the story? She said, oh, we're also getting reports that people of other ethnicities are also receiving, you know, insulting, harmful text messages. Of course they are, because you keep reporting on it. The more you keep saying, acknowledging their trollish actions and reporting on it, the more they will continue. How on earth you don't understand how to handle trolling in 2024? How sheltered and insulated can you be that you don't know what this is? This baffles me. Again, I'm one of the people who's been most affected by this kind of action on the planet. And they've got the FBI going after this shit. When I've had multiple death threats and all this shit going on, that's what they're focused on. Anonymous, mean texts. Good work. So for every dollar, every billable dollar that the FBI, all right, is getting paid, that's out of my taxes, by the way. So all my tax money, everyone's tax money in this country that we're paying, and it goes to fund the FBI, this is what they're investigating. They're not stopping criminals. They're not stopping drug dealers. They're not stopping mass murderers. They're stopping the mean texters. Well, I'm glad I will sleep soundly tonight, sending in my thousands of dollars of tax payment for the month to the feds so that they can stop the mean text. Man, let me tell you, amazing. I mean, slap bang job from the FBI there. I'm so happy that this is what we're focused on and this is what's important to our country. I mean, this is fucking stupid shit. I mean, what dunce level stuff. Okay, I got a few contributions during that story. That was just the warm-up. That was the appetizer story, my friends. We're going to get to the meat of stuff very shortly.
I got the drip go. 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 I got the drip go.
It's like a faucet that's dripping. You can't make it stop. So what do you want me to do? Have a mute button that every second I'm tapping the mute button just in case I'm going to have to clear? Like, this is what I mean. These dumb kids. This is what it is. It's dumb kids.